Hi, I'm Jeff of Jeff's Jams. I want to show you how to apply a Jamberry nail wrap. Trace the nail so that it fits perfectly and also show you the proper removal process. You're going to want to trace your nail to get the perfect fit. You're going to want to take a small piece of tape. Now do this before you cut the wrap in half. You'll see why in just a minute. You want to center this tape on your finger so that when you cut it on the Jamberry it's also centered to your finger. I got it a little off. Sorry. Alright, then what you're going to do is take your pen and just get a rough drawing here of, I like to do my sides first to get that out of there, obvious. And it just really grabs that perfect size of your nail. I love to do that. And then what you're going to want to do is, now don't go gangbusters on this, but you're going to want to stick this on your wrap. But don't go crazy because then you have to take it off. And you just want to take your cuticle or your nail cutters and cut around the inside of that blue line. The inside, because basically that blue line was writing on where your skin is. And then, because you left it as a full piece, now you can take your orange stick and kind of pry that tape up, if you can see that, and then just kind of push it back without stretching your jam out at all, and then that just comes right off, and oops, there you go. And now you have your Jamberry perfectly fit to your nail. Okay, then you want to go ahead and cut your Jamberry in half now that you've gotten the tape off. And then you're left with your jam perfectly fitting your finger. So then I'm going to take my cuticle pusher. You can do many things to soften them before you're into this process. Come do it direct out of the shower, soak your hand. Lots of things you can do, but you want to get that good and pushed back before you go ahead and clean, so you get the most out of that Jamberry that you can. And then scuff that up a bit. You want to, actually, a lot of people think that that's for smoothing your nail, but it actually makes your nail, gives it a coarse texture so that the adhesive sticks to it better. I'm going to put some alcohol on that and then clean all that dust off. And I use the other side to kind of dry it off. Got a nice clean nail there with the cuticle pushed back. Then we start the process. I'm going to take yourself an orange stick. Find it works better this way. Just grab the corner. Then I like to twist it to the big side here and give it a little push. I find it really beneficial that you get that on there straight, because this long stick gives you a lot of tell as far as if it's straight on your finger or not. But then once you get that off, being careful not to touch the adhesive, you want to go ahead and get that backing off. And then Jamberry says to heat this and warm it for 3 to 5 seconds. I'm using an iron here today. I do have a Jamberry heater elsewhere. The iron seems to emit more heat from the top, actually. So once you see that curl up and you've thoroughly warmed it through, giving it a couple extra seconds, I like to take it with my middle finger and my thumb, leaving my pointer finger here free in case I need it. And you want to place it as far back as you can without touching your cuticle. And then kind of can roll it and lay it down and roll that stick off. What you want to make sure here is that that's close to your nail bed without touching. Nobody ever is going to notice that any type of little edges around the corners. I was a perfectionist too, but nobody ever sees that. You don't see it. You want to kind of see if it's going to touch your skin there, if that's going to be free of your skin. You also want to touch on this side, kind of make sure that that's definitely not going to touch your skin. Now I've noticed I'm real shy on this side and I'm pretty heavy on this side, and I can go a little closer on that cuticle. So you can correct. If you want, you can just go ahead and grab that again, push on that stick and peel it off. At this point I like to kind of give it a little toasty up again. Here, we'll do it up here, as you can see how well that worked last time. And then we're going to do the middle finger and thumb again to leave our pointer finger free here. Going to get a little closer, and that feels right. You're going to want to check your side. That looks great. That feels awesome. And the back, I'm still a little far out, but you want to be further out than touching that skin. That's about the most terrible thing you can have. So then once you've got it on right, I like to commit the back end first here, and then just kind of push it out to the sides. Push it out on the sides here. And then the little trick I have is you can get it really to fit well. Is if you grab this corner and you pull down and almost out to the right, you're not going to hurt that jamberry. That jamberry is stretching where it's not going to be on your nail. And then when you pull outwards, it follows the curve of that nail. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Get a good chunk of it and pull it down and over to the left. And then the last one, I want to go ahead and just pull it down in the center. This makes that tip seal so good. That's going to make your jamberries last a lot longer. Now what I like to do at this point is I like to go ahead and just take that orange stick, because at this point the jamberry is stuck to your skin. And when I pull up on that, I don't want it to pull off the skin fast and hard and then pull off the nail at all. So now you can see it's completely free. So I go ahead and take my nail scissors, and then I want to go just like so, kind of round that thing off. And you'll see there, that's pretty good and set where you're going to want it. But critical part here is to continue to warm that once it's on your nail, because this is where the jamberry actually cures to the shape of your nail. Concentrating now so I don't burn my finger. Another good point why the Jamberry mini heater is awesome. Okay, it's really warm. I feel my nail thoroughly warm, so I'm going to quickly go back down here, which I'm not sure if the camera will allow that, and give it nice pressure all the way around. Now here's another critical part. At this point you may be tempted to go ahead and make that thing look beautiful like you've been yearning so long for, but let that thing sit. Go ahead and go through the rest of your nails, and then once you're done, then you want to come back, make sure that that little tip isn't adheres to your finger at all. Then you're going to want to go ahead and take your nail clippers. Now nail clippers to me work way better than a nail file, because I've learned in the past that a blade is going to cut much flatter, sharper, more precise than a file. Files will always leave a jagged edge, whether it's small or big. So what you're going to do at this point is kind of grab just the littlest bit of your nail, just so you hear that click. Don't have to cut a whole lot off, but just so you know you're catching the nail and the jamberry, and then hear that click again. Sometimes you maybe need to connect those two cuts, but definitely better to make few cuts as possible, and then you won't have all the corners. But then what you end up with is a beautiful nail. You can see, maybe not, but the nail you should see a white ridge and then the jamberry. So your target is to get that jamberry and that nail to the exact length, so that the jamberry isn't hanging over the nail and won't catch on anything. But I can feel that. No hanging edges. If you want to test it, you can always go like this. Through the jamberry process, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the next day, you're always able to go back, warm that jamberry up, and push anything down that to be honest with you, if anything came up, it was sort of because of an error in the application process without hurting your feelings too much. But it's happened to me. It's all a learning process. But so I've definitely set that baby down everywhere. You want to make sure to get that tip covered good. But look at that sucker, man. That thing's beautiful. And again, you can see I was a little dissatisfied that I left a little too much gap down here. You can see when you push my cuticle back. But I'd rather have that than the opposite. Have it touching that skin, because what's going to happen, that jamberry will not stick to your skin, and it's intended that way so that it comes off easily. But it'll lift up, and then you got to catch it on everything, peeling, tugging. So I'd rather have this any day than the opposite. And tell me, seriously, who's going to notice that? Okay, today we're going to be working on a slow removal process. I'm working on removing this jamberry here that's different than the rest. First thing you're going to want to do is soak your nail in, this is coconut oil. Any oil will do. I kind of joked around with a girl that said she said she didn't have any oil, and I was like, cooking oil? Come on, you know. But then I said motor oil, and I wouldn't doubt that motor oil would work as well. So I got that soaked. It's giving me a nice coat underneath my jamberry. Okay, the first thing you might want to do is lift up this edge here, just very gently, just enough to be lifting there. Then you want to take a dental pick, go ahead and get going there, and then just slide this back and forth. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Slowest possible removal method I know, one width of floss at a time. Just go where it goes, what comes off easiest. Just keep giving it a little push. Look at that, man. That thing is coming off really simple, nice and easy. This has been known by many of the jamberry hosts and consultants to be the absolute best way to remove a jamberry. Just give it a little saw in there. Before you know it, she's going to pop right off. Look at that. Beautiful. And on top of that, no nail polish remover. Oil that's going to hydrate and be healthy for your nail.